Hey guys, Scott here. Today I want to talk about the perk Wicked that's coming with the next chapter in DBD with the Unknown. The previous version of Wicked, I don't even remember what it did. It was basically just a placeholder and it was utterly useless. So this is the only description and confirmation we have from the actual game itself, what it's going to be. It's going to be yourself unhook attempts in the basement, always succeed. When you're unhooked, you see the killer's aura for 20 seconds. And that's the entire perk. And there's been a lot of discourse about whether or not that's actually too strong, too weak, or everything in between. So I wanted to give my take on it right now. Now, initially, this can sound extremely strong, right? A guaranteed unhook in the basement with the requirement, like, deliverance, you don't have to set it up. As long as you're just down near the basement, killer's likely going to take you there, and you can just unhook yourself. That's a lot of free pressure and all that stuff. So that immediately seems like it'd be good for countering killers that snowball off the basement and things like that. And so a lot of people were saying that shit was way too strong. But I really thought about it a lot. I actually, not only do I think this perk is not overpowered, I don't think it's really that good at all. Because you think about it, what are the main killers that you need to counter strong basement plays from? They're basically Bubba, Huntress, and Trapper, right? The thing is, though, if Bubba, Huntress, or Trapper wants to have you dead in the basement, unhooking yourself is not going to do shit. You're still going to die. Huntress will hit you off the hook and with a hatchet back up with you up the stairs and hit you before you can get to a doorway. Trapper's going to block all three sides. Bubba's going to hit you twice. All the really good snowball killers from the basement don't care that you can unhook yourself. You're still just going to get hit twice. Now, it can be a little bit better if the killer is not necessarily camping, but they're kind of nearby, because they're sort of proxy camping you. That might give you time to get a little bit out of the basement. And in that scenario, that might be good. Like, for example, if you get downed by a Trapper and he brings you into the basement, you can unhook yourself as he's setting up the three traps. Or as a Bubba goes upstairs to make sure no one's coming in. You basically have to unhook yourself immediately before any of these killers have a chance to do much of their setup. And if you do it like that, your chances of survival are going to be a lot higher, in my opinion. Now, if you went down to a Trapper because there's three traps already, and then he just resets one, then puts you in the basement, you're completely dead. But for the most part, I do think there's a little bit of a window where this will be really good against killers that primarily get kills from having you in the basement. So I think if you do it right, it could actually have some decent amount of value. It's definitely not OP, though. I'm seeing so many people bring up arguments like, you can just go down to the basement, you get a free unhook, and that's ridiculously strong. You're still getting hooked. It's still one of your three hook states. And the killer can still tunnel you if they want to. It's not really that big of a deal. People are just forgetting the fact that it still consumes one of your three hook states. So it's still a downside for you. It just makes it so if there are those killers that can potentially snowball, you have a bit of a chance now rather than just being guaranteed dead. Now you actually have a chance to not die, which I think is kind of cool. So in my opinion, it really fits the purpose of the perk kind of perfectly, where it's probably not going to have too much use in a lot of your games. It's like Unbreakable, where it's not going to be too useful most of your games, but every once in a while, it can be the perk that single-handedly wins you the entire game. And I don't really mind perks like that. They're giant risks and giant rewards. And I think that kind of perk design is okay. So overall, Wicked is definitely not going to be overpowered. If anything, it might be actually not that strong, considering people that are going to be camping the basement mostly won't really care about you unhooking yourself. And if anything, it might just shorten the time you live, because at least on the hook, you're guaranteed to live 2 minutes. But if you unhook yourself in 2 seconds and you're down in 10 seconds, you might actually live less time than if you didn't have the perk. So used carefully can be decent, in my opinion. Will never be overpowered or anything like that. And probably teeters more towards the weaker side of perks because of how niche it is. But that's pretty much it. Those are my opinions on Wicked. I think it's fine, honestly. For the purposes of what it's made for, it's okay. The aura reading is super nice, too, to let you know which direction to run if the killer's coming back to the hook and actually do that tunnel off, so that's really nice. I need to also make it clear that aura reading only works for the basement. I thought this would originally be when you're just unhooked, you see the killer's aura for 20 seconds no matter what. That would actually make it a pretty damn good perk, but that only works for the basement hook. So as it stands right now, relax, killers. It's really not that great. It'll help in some niche scenarios, and it'll totally win the game in some, but in most of your games, it's probably not even going to be anything noticeable. And if it is noticeable, it's going to lose its value immediately because people will unhook in front of your face and go down 10, 15 seconds later. So overall, I'm not worried about this perk as a killer whatsoever. As a survivor, I don't even see myself using it that much. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on Wicked. Thanks for watching.